everyone, this is going to be our Chapter 1 test review for integers. So have your CSA review out that you got in class today, and we'll go ahead and get started. The first few should have been really simple. Number 1 said find the absolute value of 12, and that is 12. Because remember, absolute value is the distance from 0 on a number line. Number 2 is 30. It takes 30 steps to get to negative 30 on the number line. And same thing for number 3. Answer is 44. For number 4, 5, and 6, you are completing the statement using less than, greater than, or equal to. Remember, the absolute value of negative 6 is 6, and this absolute value of 6 is also equal to 6. That means they're equal to one another. For number 5, you're comparing 0 and the absolute value of 3. Absolute value of 3 is 3, so that means 0 is less than 3. And then for number 6, again, solving absolute value. The absolute value of negative 5 is 5. The absolute value of negative 9 is 9. And 5 is less than 9, so the absolute value of negative 5 is less than the absolute value of negative 9. Remember, this was from lesson 1.1 if you needed to go back and review it. Next, we're still ordering values from least to greatest. The key here is to solve your absolute value first. So 3, 5, this one's still negative 4, 7, and then 0. Keeping in mind too that your number line, the farthest on the left is always going to be less. So think about that. On your number line, left is always less. The farthest one on the left is negative 4, then 0, then 3, 5, and 7. When you're writing your final answer though for your test, just make sure you put them back in original form. So the ones we fixed was the absolute value of 0, the absolute value of negative 3, and the absolute value of negative 5. So your final answer would need to look like this. Okay? That was from also lesson 1.1 if you needed to go back and review it. Number 8 is from lesson 1.2. This is where we sing our song. Those are not same signs, they're different signs. So different signs subtract. We're going to subtract those numbers and then get 3, and then I'm going to keep the sign of the larger value, which is positive 6. So our answer for number 8 is positive 3. 9, again, still computing. It's okay that you have more than a few numbers. You can do this many different ways. I'm just going to go from left to right. 8 plus negative 1, that's different signs, so I'm going to subtract. I get 7. 7 stays positive. And then I need to bring down the plus negative 3 because that's still a part of my question. Again, different signs subtract, and I get 4, keeping it positive because the larger value is also positive. For number 10, this is a subtraction problem. This is from lesson 1.3. Remember, with subtraction problems, we have to do keep, change, or adding the opposite. So we're going to keep 10, change subtraction to addition, and negative 3 to positive 3. Once we're done adding those, that's simple, same signs, adding, keep, and I get 13. 11, same type of deal here, keep, change. I've got negative 9 plus positive 9, and those are called additive inverses or opposites, and whenever you add opposites, they're always equal to 0. So 0 is my answer for number 11. 12 starts our multiplication section, and remember this is from lesson 1.4. We do need to use Monkey Man here. Remember, we use Monkey Man whenever we multiply or divide. 7 times negative 4, I'm going to cover up a positive and a negative sign. I'm left with a negative on Monkey Man, so that means my answer is negative for this one, negative 28. Same type of deal here for number 13. I'm just going to pair them up using 2 at a time. Negative 2 times negative 5 is a positive 10, but a positive 10 times a negative 3 is a negative 30. A lot of people get confused here and try to use Monkey Man for all 3 of those. Remember, Monkey Man, you can't cover up 3 negatives in Monkey Man, so you do have to go 2 at a time here, and so that's why I did negative 2 times negative 5 first, found that positive answer, and then multiplied by negative 3 to get my answer of negative 30. 14 starts our division problems. Again, still using Monkey Man here. Negative 12 divided by negative 4 is a positive 3. Cover up a negative and negative, you're left with the positive. For number 15, again, a negative divided by a positive is a negative still, and that one's going to be negative 3 for number 15. Again, this is from lesson 1.5 if you needed some reminders from those videos. 16 says negative 16 over 8, which also means to divide. That looks like negative 16 divided by 8. And using Monkey Man one more time, negative 2 is my answer. Number 17 says 0 divided by negative 10. That one you can do. It is going to be equal to 0. Remember, we did talk about this in lesson 1.5, though, that you cannot do something like this, negative 10 divided by 0, or negative 10 over 0. Remember, those are called undefined. And if you can't remember, just go back and check out lesson 1.5, and there's a whole big explanation there, too. Number 18 says you start hiking at an elevation that is 80 meters below base camp. You increase your elevation by 42 meters. What's the new elevation with respect to base camp? So if you're starting below base camp, that's going to be negative 80. And then you're increasing by 42, which means adding 42. So your problem is negative 80 plus 42. I have different signs, so I am going to subtract 80 and 42. Borrow. So 10 minus 2 is 8, 7 minus 4 is 3. So I get 38, and this 38 should be negative because it's still, the larger value is still negative. So this negative 38 just means I'm 38 meters below base camp. So either one of those, negative 38 or 38 meters below base camp, would work for that one. And then 19, this is the last one on the first page. The temperature falls from 3 degrees Celsius to negative 4 degrees Celsius. What is the difference in these temperatures? You can do one of two things here. You can either find the difference, which just means to subtract them. If you show keep, change, change, that's actually 3 plus positive 4, and you're left with 7. Or you can draw a number line, and starting at positive 3 degrees, how many steps does it take you to get to negative 4 degrees? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not going to write negative 7, even though I did move in the negative direction. You're still taking steps, so you have to make sure that you write that as a normal positive 7. For number 20, this one was a little difficult because you did have to list all the factors of negative 24, and it says, what is the largest possible sum of n and p if you can have a product and multiplying them by to get negative 24, and explain how you find your answer. The first thing you needed to do was list all the ways that you can make negative 24 when you multiply them. And notice I've used all my factors, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. The only thing different I've done on one column is maybe all the smaller numbers are negative, and then on the other column, all the larger ones are negative. The question says, what is the largest possible sum of n and p? That one would be using these two, negative 1 and 24. If you multiply them, you get negative 24. But if you add them, the sum, negative 1 plus 24, it is equal to 23. And that is just because we use the smallest negative number and the largest possible positive number. That one was a little tricky. It was just basically can you put multiplication and addition facts together? Number 21, you did have to evaluate using order of operations. So I don't have anything with parentheses. I cross that out. No exponents. I do have some multiplication or division, and that is this right here, negative 56 divided by 14. I believe negative 56 divided by 14, let's see that real quick. That's going to give us negative 4. I'm going to bring down everything else, the plus 9, the plus, and then negative 13. Now I just need to do all my addition, because that's all that I have left. Negative 13 plus negative 4, that's going to be negative 17. And then I have negative 17 plus 9 gives me negative 8. If you didn't get negative 8, maybe double check to see if you actually used order of operations. The second one on this section, 22, yes, still using order of operations. No parentheses, no exponents, but I do have some multiplication and division. Remember, if it's in the same sentence, I got to go from left to right. Negative 16 times 3 is negative 48, and negative 36 divided by 12 is negative 3. I'm going to bring this subtraction sign down, so now it says this, negative 48 minus negative 3. I need to keep, change it. So I get negative 48 plus positive 3, and negative 48 plus positive 3 is a negative 45. For number 23, it says evaluate the expression when x is equal to 4, y is equal to -3, and z is equal to -5. All you need to do is basically plug in what your number values are given and then solve using order of operations. I have 8 times y, which is 8 times -3, plus x, which is 4. 8 times -3 is -24, and -24 plus 4 is -20. For number 24, kind of similar, x times z divided by 2. X is 4, z is -5, all divided by -2. 4 times -5 is -20, and -20 divided by -2 is +10. The last one, or last few, is just asking how to find different types of things here. For the first one, it says find the range. Remember, range is maximum minus the minimum. Looks like the maximum is 22 and the minimum is 15, so I'm going to do 22 minus -15. You need to do minus -15 because 15 is still negative. Max minus the min. Then I'm going to keep change it because it's a subtraction problem. So that means it's actually 22 plus. So 22 plus 15 actually gives you a positive 37. For this one, it says find the change in temperature from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. From 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., it went from positive 10 degrees Fahrenheit to negative 11 degrees Fahrenheit. That means we went 10 degrees below to get to 0, and then another negative 11, okay? Or you could do 10 minus negative 11, kind of the same thing you did on 25, which means 10 plus positive 11, and that gives you 21. The last one, number 27, says based on the 5 given temperatures, what's the mean temperature for the day? Remember, mean is finding the average, so the first thing you had to do is add all these together. -15 plus -6 is -21. -21 plus +22 is 1. 1 plus 10 is 11. And 11 plus -11 is 0. And then you have to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 temperatures. So 0 divided by 5 is equal to 0. So the average temperature is 0 degrees. This is going to conclude our review. Thanks so much for tuning in. Good luck on your test.